Finally, Roger and Garp have already defeated ROX Xebec, so the spoilers for the upcoming chapter 1165 have already been released. And the title of this upcoming chapter is Reverberation. And the first information from the spoilers says that Shiki has declared in God Valley that this will be the end of the ROX Pirates. One by one, it is said that the members of the ROX Pirates are being shown, including Gansui, who is still alive. They are all said to be leaving the island separately. From this information, Shiki's declaration makes sense because, yes, this group of ROX pirates was only being held together by their captain, Sebek. It's like he was the glue that kept everyone together, and because of his current state, turning into a demon and not being able to control himself anymore, there's no more glue to hold the entire ROX pirates together. What I just wonder about here is why some of the ROX Pirates members can't seem to fight for their captain. Because, yes, we already saw in the recent chapters how Big Mom, Kaido, and Whitebeard fought head-to-head alongside Sebek, but the rest of their group were missing in action besides Sebek. For me, it's like they didn't do everything they could to fight for their captain. Anyway, the next piece of information says that the scene will return to the battle between Roger and Garp against Xebec. If you remember in the last chapter, their fight was just about to begin. It is said that Roger and Garp contacted and assured their respective groups to tell them that they will come back. After that call, the battle between Garp and Roger against Xebec began. It is said that we'll see several panels of this confrontation. So most likely, this will be the main highlight of the chapter, this battle between the strongest ones in God Valley. I'm really excited to see it in the actual chapter. The next information from the spoilers says that the scene will move to Big Mom and Kaido. Big Mom supposedly tells Kaido that he owes her a lifelong debt, and this is where they part ways and leave God Valley. So the context of this debt obviously refers to the devil fruit that Big Mom gave him, which later on Kaido took from her, and because they left God Valley, this marks the end of their role in the God Valley incident. Overall, Oda portrays the relationship between Kaido and Big Mom like that of siblings. They're always arguing and teasing each other. It's quite funny that later on in the story, they still keep this kind of relationship. Now, let's move on to the exciting part of this upcoming chapter 1165. It is said that Whitebeard will meet a character named Pologram. He supposedly looks like Marco, and as stated, this Pologram is a fan of Whitebeard. That's why he shows interest in joining Whitebeard. So just by the name, it's obvious that this is Marco the Phoenix's father, since the name of this Marco lookalike is Polo, meaning that when father and son are combined, their names form Marco Polo, a reference to the famous explorer. Perhaps the character we saw in chapter 1162, the one who kicked Silver Egg, was actually Marco's father, Polo. He looks exactly like this character. So it's interesting to learn that Marco wasn't really the original right-hand man of Whitebeard in the Whitebeard Pirates, but rather his own father. Hopefully soon, Oda will reveal more information about this father of Marco. I wonder if, like his son, he also has a mythical Zoan devil fruit, since Marco's phoenix fruit has such a beautiful color. Piece of spoiler information says that Emu will give a command to Xebec to erase everything in God Valley. So, using his extremely powerful conqueror's Haki, Xebec supposedly releases an enormous burst of power ready to attack Garp and Roger, but of course Garp and Roger don't allow it, because both of them also unleash their overwhelming Haki for a combined attack. It's said that Garp attacks with something similar to Luffy's elephant Gatling, while Roger centers his attack on his sword. From this information, I'm really getting the vibe that this mirrors the upcoming battle between Luffy, Shanks, and Blackbeard. In other words, Garp represents Luffy, Shanks represents Roger, and Sebek obviously represents his son Blackbeard. Could this be a foreshadowing of the inevitable battle among those three? Because according to the description from the spoilers, that the panels showing this will be truly epic, it seems to confirm that the God Valley flashback is really nearing its end. And as I mentioned in our recent videos, we'll soon return to the first scene where this flashback began, which is the transformation of Harold into a demon 14 years ago. Of course, as part of the storytelling, that serves as a beautiful callback to the tragic fates of these two good friends. They both tried to change the world in their own ways, but because they weren't destined to be the ones who could truly change it, they both met the same sorrowful fate. And finally, the last piece of information from the spoilers says that Roger and Garp have already defeated Xebec. After Sebek's defeat, his body supposedly released evil energy. So it's possible that this evil energy refers to something similar to what we saw with Gorosei Saturn when he was also killed by Im-sama. If you remember, Saturn's body also released dark energy, meaning it's possible that we'll see the same thing happen to Xebec. This raises a lot of questions, because does this mean that Luffy must first defeat or kill those characters affected by Dome Reverse in order to free them from Im-sama's spell? Is that what will happen now to Labrogi and Dory and Elbaf? Or is there another way to release this dark energy from their bodies early? Well, the answers to those questions will soon be revealed, since we're about to return again to the current timeline, so stay tuned to our channel. Anyway, those are all the pieces of information from the spoilers for the upcoming chapter 1165, and I hope you enjoyed it. So, that's all. Peace.